What did you think you were really good at until you saw someone who was actually really good at it?
So they let you tote that record player?
Table tennis. We had a table at work. And so I started playing any time I could. With whoever I could. I'd played a little when I was a kid. So picked it back up quickly and started getting half decent. Eventually. I started playing with one coworker fairly regularly. He was good. No doubt. At first he was clearly just volleying with me. Not actually putting it away when he'd get the chance. This made it more fun for me to be sure. And offered me great practice. Anyway. After about a year. I'd gotten to the point where I could cream everybody I'd play with ease. Except him. And our games had elevated drastically. To the point of all-out smashing the ball back and forth standing 10 feet away from the table. And I actually started winning some games every now and then. I was ecstatic. Well, one day, after losing a pretty heated game to me, and me being just a little bit pompous about it, my table tennis buddy coworker pulls a total Inigo Montoya on me. Flips the paddle from his left hand, which he 100% consistently used when playing against me, into his right and says to me, "You know I'm right-handed. Right?" I did not. Nor did I ever win another game against him. I began piano lessons at an early age, 5, and my parents and my teacher made me believe I was some kind of fabulous child prodigy. I later found out I was merely a worm compared to real pianists. But I did enjoy playing the piano. So there's that. At one point I thought I was pretty savvy in Excel since I was the best at it out of the people I knew. Well, then I meet someone who really knew how to use Excel and realized that I really only knew the basics. 8-ball and 9-ball. I had a table at home and would practice while watching TV. No one could beat me. In college I'd play a $1 a ball. Everyone owed me money. Then I played someone that regularly entered tournaments. I was lucky if I got to shoot because he was running the table every game. I've come to the realization that I'm very mediocre at a lot of things. I can do most anything. Just not well. Playing guitar. I'm good enough to impress normal people. But I could never reach the level of a professional musician. Programming. Most of my fellow students were pretty bad at it. Then at my first job I pair-programmed with a guy that had been doing it for 40 years. Driving. Everyone thinks they're a good driver. Sit along with a professional driver as they go through a course. And then try to do the same? So humbling. My dad likes gardening and loves his plumeria. He has about 30. He recently found a local plumeria club on Facebook and went to a meetup. He was the only one there with less than 100. My mother has stopped complaining about him having too many plumeria. Okay, I'll jump in. In my late 20s I had never lost a single game of Scrabble in my life. I have a pretty large vocabulary and a talent for pattern matching. So I was always able to come up with very long words and find high bonuses to place them on. The true Scrabble players are already laughing at me. Well, I was looking for something to do with my time and decided to try the local Scrabble club. I'll cut to the chase. I didn't win a single game. I didn't even present a challenge to a single player there. Several of them got annoyed at having to match up with someone as bad at Scrabble as me. I left that night deeply humiliated. But amazed. I never went back. What I learned that night is that championship Scrabble players do not bother hunting for 150-point mega-score words. No. They kick your ass by placing 3 tiles that cross-connect to form 5 different words. 3 of which are 2-letter words. And all of which somehow share the same triple word score tile even though only 2 words can possibly use it. And they score like 226 points by laying down those 3 tiles. It's incredible. It's as much art as science. So I learned a lot about humility from that one. I thought I was pretty good at Tetris. People who saw me play were quite impressed. Then I started playing Tetris 99. Turns out I'm not that good. Ping pong. I made the mistake of playing an old guy that hangs out at one of the bars and he freaking wrecked me. It wasn't even close. He returned all of my best serves effortlessly and would put the craziest spin on all of his shots. He gave me good advice afterwards and told me I play too fast for my own good. I bought him a drink and shamefully went back to my friends. I was actually a really good wrestler in high school. I went to state as a freshman. Got 4th as a sophomore. 2nd as a junior. And then won state my senior year. During the summer before my senior year my team went to a wrestling camp. My coach knew the coach of another team in another state and we went there to practice with them for a week. I was the best wrestler on my team and I beat everyone on their team also. The 3rd day of camp some guy came in to wrestle with us. I didn't know who he was but we were about the same size so I challenged him. This guy proceeded to frick me up for the next hour. I didn't score a single point on him and he did whatever the frick he wanted to me. I was completely helpless. Come to find out he was a 2-time Division II national champion in college and a 3-time All-American. I learned that there are levels to that shit and I got a massive dose of humility. Fighting. I won a shit ton of amateur MMA bouts and a few professional. But then I met someone who beat the freaking brakes off of me for like 3 rounds and then choked my ass out. Turns out, I am pretty okay at it. But I am no world champion lol. Drawing and painting. A huge part of being an artist is the near constant beatings your confidence takes. I used to teach high school art. And those kids were amazing. They should have been teaching me. As a 23-year-old birder, it's humbling to be beside a retired 70-plus-year-old who can see birds where none seem to be. And identify them. Skiing. Thought I was the quickest of the quick. Craving perfect parallel lines. Living my life on the edge. Nope. Ski team whizzed by me when I thought I was going fast. Turns out, I'm just a buffoon on 2 planks snowplowing around ungracefully. Guitar Hero. I never met anyone who could beat me. Then I saw a dude on YouTube 100% bark at the moon with his back to the screen and I'm done. I played in a piano competition at age 16 back then. I fancied myself a pretty good pianist, and there was this teenaged girl who went on stage. Sat down in front of the piano. And calmly blew all of us other contestants away with ease. She played Maurice Ravel's Jeu d'eau. And she was absolutely captivating. Within about 30 seconds, I think we all knew she was going to win first prize. After a few minutes, I felt the judges ought to end the contest right then and there and just give her the trophy. Even now, over a decade later, I'm still in awe of her. She did it with so much grace, dignity and style. I only wish I knew her name. I think I'm a pretty solid writer. Every now and then I read a novel that just makes me think. Well, I love you. But also frick you a little bit. I would love to hear answers to the inverse of this question. Where someone didn't think much of their prowess but turned out champions. Drawing. I always think I am good at it, not God level. My ego isn't that large. Then I take a look on DeviantArt and suddenly my world comes crashing down. Happens on a weekly basis at least. Lol. Edit number 1. Thank you so much for the gold. Anonymous friend. I heavily appreciate your act of kindness. Also, thank everyone for upvoting this comment. I also sure am super glad that I made at least one person's day in the replies. Edit number 2. On another note, I plan to start drawing on DeviantArt via AbyssPaint, which I will use on an iPad 4 that I am currently saving up money to buy. Along with a pretty case, some nice styluses, and a neat charger. I want to start drawing by June 2020. But depending on how long it takes for me to save up the $200 I need, it could be a while longer. Until then, however, my DeviantArt account is accessible through this link. https://www.deviantart.com/cstergirl934 closing square bracket opening parenthesis https://www.deviantart.com/cstergirl934 closing parenthesis edit number 3. RIP. My inbox. I'll try to read as many comments as I can. Though. Edit number 4. Took a look on ArtStation despite all the warnings. And I've gotta say, I was actually hoping to have my soul crushed by tremendously good art. But I guess I was too eager. Because that didn't happen. The art there is still tremendously good. But I didn't get super let down. My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. LMAO. Tennis. The sport I grew up playing. I beat the majority of my colleagues frequently and even won a few tournaments. My coaches intentionally lowered their level when they played against me so that I wouldn't be thrashed. Not a whole lot to be learned from that. And I thought they were giving their best and I was able to pull off some close scorelines. I'd watch the guys on TV and think that most of it wasn't really that impressive. Thought the sport was pretty slow. And the pros don't do a lot of flashy stuff. As they want to win. So I'd thought I'd reach their level in the near future. Until the pros came to my country to play a tournament. And I went straight away to see Roger Federer practice in person. I was blown away so hard and my ego was so crushed that I wasn't able to speak for a few days. Never again was I arrogant about anything anymore. I thought I was exceptionally smart because I was in talented and gifted program in school. I was a great test taker. I got good grades. And breezed through getting my bachelor's degree. School was always pretty easy for me. Then I went to law school. Everyone was older than me. Had actual life experience. And they were realty fricking smart. People would ask such thought-provoking questions. I couldn't believe we had read the same thing. I realized graduating high school and getting a bachelor's in political science at a state school wasn't genius-level stuff. And I had developed absolutely zero study skills over the prior 21 years. My first year in law school hit me like a ton of bricks. But it all worked out. Programming. Learned a lot in college and at my first job. I switched based on my skills. Came to new company. Met my senior who is incredibly talented and realized I have a long way to go. Math. I'm a theoretical physicist. And I always felt I was pretty good at math in undergrad. Then I met the professor I'm working for right now. One of my life goals is to become at least 3/4 as good at theoretical physics as he is. Then I met Ed Witten. Then I read some papers by Freeman Dyson. Damn. I build cars as a hobby. And when I mean build cars, I modify cosmetically and mechanically for all forms of racing for myself and with my husband. My grandfather taught me everything I know about cars from when I was a child. And getting dirty and oily hands from helping him growing up. I love all types. But my main focus are building drift builds. I taught myself how to drift. How to control my car by making it lose control. While I still contained control of its power when it broke traction. I practiced on the many drift tracks that are near me. I was able to maintain it and keep it going around shard and long corners without spinning out or stalling. Until I watched my grandfather be let loose in his '65 fastback Mustang that he built from junk to prize. He literally went Ken Block on all of the corners. Almost never straightening out. I've never felt so much discouragement and enlightenment in myself more than that moment. He has a bad back now. But man, do I miss him acting like a 20-year-old again, working on the cars he loves and doing everything he did while driving them. I learned to solve a Rubik's Cube and practiced until I could solve on in like 30 seconds. Then I saw a video of the world record at the time, which was like 4.9 seconds. That was pretty depressing for me. Hiking. I honestly thought I'd be one tough motherfricker. Canceling my apartment and going into the big wide world of Scandinavia. Faroe and Iceland with only my backpack and sleeping outside. Then I met a guy who just came back from a 700 km glacier hike at 40°C in Greenland who came to Faroes just to recover. Sadly that guy became my partner. And he had shown me in so many occasions of what my body is literally not able to endure, that I had to readjust my whole self-image. I eat more chocolate now. Edit. This is us. https://i.imager.com/hbl2qr.jpg closing parenthesis. Video games. Every time I find a game one feel like I'm really good at, I always find a close friend that's x100 better than me in that game.